Hi, I'm Rachel Ward and I'd like to read from my translation of The Edelweiss Pirates by Dirk Reinhardt, which is out from Pushkin Press on the 26th of August. It's based on the true story of groups of young people called the Edelweiss Pirates, who were based in and around Cologne and the industrial cities in Western Germany, and their rebellion against the Nazi regime during and a little before the Second World War. So most of the novel is based on the diary entries of one of the young people from the Edelweiss Pirates, and this first entry is from the 27th of November 1944. The images stay with me, they won't let me go. It was 3 days ago now that they murdered my brother, but I can still see it before my eyes every second. Tom and Flint didn't want me to go. They were afraid something might happen to me, thought the Gestapo would recognise me and nab me, but I didn't listen to them. I had to go. In the end they gave in and came too. To make sure I didn't do anything stupid at least. It was in Hüttensstraße, where they've been executing people for a month or two now, outside Ehrenfeld station. By the time we arrived, the square was already full. Gawpers everywhere, drawn in by the posters. Dull faces, greedy for sensation. We mixed in with them. Right outside the station there was the gallows. 2 long crossbeams resting on a frame. The bottom one for their feet, the nooses thrown over the top one. I saw Mum further forwards. 2 women were holding her up. I badly wanted to run over to her, but Tom and Flint held me back. There were Gestapo spies everywhere, standing there looking inconspicuous, listening out for anyone saying the wrong things, lurking in wait for people like us who are on the wanted lists. We kept our heads down and pulled our hoods over our faces. After a few minutes, the SS marched up. When I saw them with their machine guns, all my hopes crumbled. I'd secretly been playing with the idea of rescuing my brother, but it was no good. The only weapons I had were an old knife and one of our basic Molotov cocktails. Mum turned around as if she was searching for me. She looked scared and desperate, helpless. Kind of against my will, I shoved my hand in my pocket and gripped the knife. Maybe I should go, I thought, now before it's too late. But then the lorry arrived with the prisoners. They were sitting in the back, which was uncovered, their hands tied behind them. Horst was there too. He was wearing his SS uniform, but the badges he used to be so proud of had been ripped off. They dragged him and the others to the gallows. He kept his head down and climbed onto the beam. One of the SS men put the noose round his neck while he just stared blankly into space. Right away, one of the Gestapo men read out the death warrant. I couldn't take it in, just stared at Horst. My brother, who'd always been so strong, the one I admired. Now the noose was round his neck, but at the moment I looked at him, he suddenly raised his head, like he was trying to find me. I let go of the knife and grabbed the molly. What if I light it and lob it so it goes off among all the SS, I thought. Maybe they'd panic. Maybe I could rescue Horst in the mayhem and then we could... But before I had time to do anything, Tom was there. He must have been watching me, probably guessed what I was planning. He grabbed my hand and held on tight. I crumpled and shut my eyes. He was right. I knew it, but I didn't want it to be true. We stood there like that for a couple of seconds, then a murmur went round the crowd. I didn't need to know why, to look to know why. The SS had started the executions. One by one the nooses would be jerked tight, the prisoners would lose their balance on the beam and kick the air, fighting with death. Same hideous show every time. When I opened my eyes again, Horst was still standing there, but the man next to him was just being pulled up in the air, so he'd be next. I couldn't bear it and tried to get away from Tom. But Flint appeared on the other side of me. He grabbed me, put his hand over my mouth and nodded to Tom. Then they dragged me away. Over the people's heads I saw my brother being yanked up in the air, and I heard Mum cry out. I reared up, wanted to shake Tom and Flint off, but they held me tight, trying to pull me away before anyone noticed us. At some point I stopped fighting. Horst was dead because he saved us. It was like part of me had died up there.